Everyone, it is Women in the Arts Showcase Day. Can you feel it? Isn't it a beautiful day here in Atlanta, Georgia? And at home, we welcome you to our community. Welcome. You belong here at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. I'm Penelope Williams, and I invite you to join with me as I'm going to sing some music, this is the music of Guru Singh. Guru Singh. And I invite you because we've been apart too long. Music brings us together, yes? To be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate. God is the boat, and God is the boatman. It's by God's grace we're gonna cross this earthly ocean. We learn our lessons from the sun. It shines equally on everyone. When the sun don't shine, we learn it from the rain. It falls equally on everyone the same. To be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate, sing that with me now, to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate to be confident that the infinite will take care of it. We're so fortunate. Gary Lynn Floyd, he writes, and actually, let's see, Amy Bishop, Gary Lynn Floyd, and Karen Drucker wrote this next song. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to let our love show. We have come here. You feel like singing? I know know you do. Yes, that's Reverend Susan goes, no, it's like this. Yes, we do, Penelope. We feel like sing it. Bring it. So I'm going to give you a phrase to say to yourself or sing along with the rest of us, okay? It feels good? We have come here to love one another. Penelope says, we have come here to love one another. We have come here to let our love show. And you say, we have come here to let our love show. Good job. We are family. We're sisters and brothers. We are family. We're sisters and brothers. And we carry this love everywhere that we go. And we carry this love everywhere that we go. I love it. Let's try that again. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to let our love show. We have come here to let our love show. We are family, we're sisters and brothers. We are family, we're sisters and brothers. And we carry this love everywhere that we go. And we carry this love everywhere that we go. Across all boundaries, across the unfamiliar terrain of our lives, we carry love everywhere that we go. Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for singing along. It feels good to be with you this morning, and I'm honored to serve in this capacity with you. I invite you, if it feels comfortable, to join us in spirit and stand, if you feel so able to do that. And join as we sing our opening song. It is called You Are Welcome Here. And indeed, you are so welcome. The beautiful music of John Stringer. There is a space in my heart. I can find the truth. I find me in you. A truth beyond you may see now. When we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who, what you call yourself, or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You can look around the room. Yes, just sing to each other, man. You're welcome here. You are welcome here. See with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go. Trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we can ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself, or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are morning. Please be seated. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome, Baji Daniels.
Good morning. There's one line in that song that says, we're so much more when we unite. And so I welcome everyone here today. It feels good to be united. My name is Baji, and I proudly serve as one of the practitioners here at the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We are a center who educates and engages the seeker on their spiritual path. And as a member of the global community, Centers for Spiritual Living, our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, and our vision is a world that works for everyone. Whether this is your first time here or if you are watching from home, you are a welcome participant in this service, and especially if you are one of our members. This is where you belong. We are grateful for your presence this morning. And we have an affirmation. I think it's showing on the screen. I'm going to read it through once, and then I'll invite you to say it collectively. Like a child at play, I sip from the universal cup of joy and sweeten it with my unlimited gratitude. So take that in, and now let's affirm it together. Like a child at play, I sip from the universal cup of joy and sweeten it with my unlimited gratitude. And so it is. Announcements.
I'm Mally Lapitte, and I gladly serve on the Creative Arts team here at SLCA. Hello, everyone. You know who I am. I'm Mally Lapitte. Today I'm going to get it right. I admit last week I got it wrong. Some things were out of order. I'm still new, so I rely on my cuteness. I'm excited to tell you all about ways to grow, connect, serve, and give. For more information about today's announcements, for everything we're up to, because it's more than what I've got here, scan the QR code on the chair in front of you. Yes, or there's one in the lobby, or there should be one on our monitor. I can see that's true. Please join us after the service today for a time of connection as we celebrate Women's Herstory Month by recognizing the amazing talent of the women of SLCA. So look around you. After the service, there will be drinks and refreshments and some snacks outside for your enjoyment. Did you know that Reverend Susan Zoller leads a weekly gathering every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern via Zoom? This gathering provides the tools necessary to grow by applying this teaching to your everyday living. This afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m. right here, we'll be joining in the SLCA parking lot with our friends at UUCA, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, to serve as we collect food and diapers for those in need. Please consider donating whatever you can. We can't accept anything in a glass container. We'd like to thank all of our loyal pledgers and each of you that faithfully give to SLCA. Thank you. To find ways to connect, grow, serve, and give, visit our digital program or our information wall in the lobby after service. Practitioners are available this morning for prayer after the service in person and online chat. If you would like to receive affirmative prayer online, our online practitioner will give you their email to arrange a time. Otherwise, for in-person treatment, our practitioners will be found after service on either side of the front of the sanctuary. Thank you all for joining us today. Y'all have a good day.
We are a praying community, and we call our prayer spiritual mind treatment. And I am here to offer a prayer this morning. I ask that you receive it with your full being. Relax your body. Begin to focus on your breath. With every in-breath, feel that you are taking in the fullness that life has to offer. It's forever giving of itself to you. And when you exhale, feel yourself willingly, effortlessly releasing anything that no longer serves your highest good. So you just continue breathing in and out, and eventually you don't even focus on that breath because it's there whether we think about it or not. And these words I say in first person, but I recognize the oneness of all life. So I'm speaking for all of us. When I say that I know that there is a powerful presence right here with us this morning. This presence, this force, this power that I call God is everywhere present all the time. There's not a spot where it doesn't exist. It's in everyone and in everything. And with the vibration that I hold within me, I activate a greater awareness of this presence. It is the full, changeless reality of life. It never changes. It just expands into more and more and more of itself. And it uses me as an instrument to express it in the world. So as it is using me, I am using it, and the oneness thereof creates a palpable force that can change conditions, that can heighten energy, that can heal bodies. It is the full essence of health and wellness and love and peace and prosperity. Oh, the vitality of life lived from the awareness of my God self is so marvelous. It makes life such a full, wonderful adventure. And so I affirm the presence of this force in the service this morning. Through the speaker, the words, the playfulness, through the energy that we exchange with the speaker, It's all a marvelous overflow of God expressing itself. And we enjoy it. And we are elevated by it. And so I simply say, I am celebrating the coming of spring. I feel it. I accept it as part of that changeless reality, the natural pattern of life. It's good and very good. And I am so grateful. I can release my word now. I know that it goes into an immutable law that receives a direct impress of my thoughts and my words and returns to me in like form. And so I ask that we anchor this prayer together as we say, and so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. Good morning, everyone. Kathy Ellis is here with us this morning, and she is going to be sharing a poem. And it's I heard it the other day, and it was so playful. I'm like, Kathy, you have to do that. Kathy Ellis is the director of our writers group, if you will, our facilitator, and just a beautiful teacher and a beautiful presence here in our community. And speaking of presence in our community, can we give it up for the Women's Artist Showcase this morning? We have 15 participants, authors and artists, and their items which they have here available for us to view and to be inspired by and to celebrate our community. They're also for sale. They're priced from $6 to $6,000. So we have a lot of joy in the room, do we? We have a lot of joy in our room. And one of our participants is having a birthday today. Jackie, happy birthday to you, Jacqueline Gordon.
Jackie.
And one just came in. Brigitte Porter just arrived on from the ship. She was on a cruise with Abraham Hicks, so welcome home. She arrived home at midnight last night, so we're so honored you are here with us this morning. Again, Kathy Ellis here with us this morning for our Creative Arts Moment.
Thank you. Great to be here. This is a letter to a gecko, and I'm trying not to say Geico. I'm trying really hard. Dearest Mr. Gecko, it was such a pleasure to host you in my car for the last 2 months. I had no idea what fell into my car when I cracked that window one fine morning, but something plunked inside. I didn't know exactly what to look for. Good thing you were not a scorpion, is all I can say. I finally spotted you. You evaded human hands twice. I hope the accommodations were up to your standards. However, as your chauffeur, I was a little concerned about you starving or if I found your rubbery corpse on the dashboard. I kept the windows cracked in case you got a wild head or slither out. You never did. I hope you found something to nibble on. On a Saturday afternoon, I spotted you for the 3rd time. I was returning to the parking lot from a disheartening meeting when I felt not myself. You were a light in my gray day, but frankly speaking, your color was a little bit peaked. I coaxed you with my best maternal voice. You attached your webbed feet onto a slip of paper that I excitedly grabbed from who knows where. We worked together, you and I, for your release in Geckolandia. Dearest Mr. Gecko, I wish you all the delicious bugs in suburbia, although I know you'll miss the cuisine, the ivy, and sun in my urban garden. You'll also miss tormenting my cats behind the safety of a window pane. Lucky you. But that is another story for another car ride. You are a true Buddha gecko. You withstood weather extremes and hardcore fasting with no complaining. You achieved enlightenment. Or perhaps it was I. Thank you.
So, a minister, a priest, and a rabbi walk into a bar. Well, not really. They went to the Parliament of World Religions, and they share a room for the conference. And bonding over the course of the week, they begin to open up more than they normally ever would. And on the last night of the week, the conversation goes deep into the night. And the Baptist minister says, fellas, can I share something really personal with you? Sure, they said. He takes a deep breath and says, you know, sometimes I just crave a good, stiff drink. And I go across the county line into some out-of-the-way bar, and I have it. Do you know if anyone in my congregation or our association found out, I would never be a Baptist minister again? They nod. And he says, but you know, everybody's got a secret. They nod. Time goes on, and it gets later, and the priest, feeling very close to the men, says, you know, I'd like to share something. To be honest, they're the most beautiful women in my parish, and I want them. I want them bad. But of course, I never let on, because, you know, you're right. Everybody has a secret. And the rabbi and the Baptist minister nod. Yet the rabbi says nothing. Finally, they say, Rabbi, do you think everybody has a secret? He says, oh, yeah. They said, do you have a secret, Rabbi? He said, oh, yeah. They said, Rabbi, share with. He says, oh, you really don't want to know? You really don't want to know. And they said, oh, Rabbi, yes, we have bared our souls. He said, again, I'm telling you, you really don't want to know. And they said, Rabbi, whatever is in your heart, we will support you and we will understand. And Rabbi said, okay, well, can't keep a secret. And a long silence ensues. Now, okay, even if you're not a minister, you can imagine how after bearing your soul that would feel to hear that. You know, it's not very funny if it's you or me, is it? No. Ha ha. No, it isn't. But you know, it wasn't you or me, so it is. You know, that is funny. I thought so. But have you ever shared something that you thought was just extremely humorous, only to find that it was not very well received? You know, like right now, you may be thinking, Susan, there is a lot going on in this world. You know, I don't think you're very appropriate. And it would be a wonderful opportunity for me to practice that special, let the floor open up beneath me prayer that I have. You know, I've never actually had to use it, but I know people who do. But let's face it, there really is a lot going on in the world right now. There's war. People are suffering and dying. There's a pandemic worldwide. There's disappearing rainforest. Voting and trans rights are being attacked. Science has been spurned and outright lies spun by people in the highest positions. A former president in a news conference actually urged for research into injecting people with disinfectant and also radiating them with UV light to cure COVID. You know, we know the devastation of the cities and the people and the country of Ukraine. How can we speak of humor at this moment? There are a lot of people who are feeling the weight of the world right now. So I just had to think about it. Think about insight and intuition. Talk about we plan, God laughs. CSL, our parent organization's timely title talk for this week is A Spoonful of Humor. Wow. Not everybody found that really enlightening. So is hell in a handbasket right now? And actually think of the temperatures outside. Has it frozen over? Many seem to think so. But I am here to remind you today that in truth, everything is well. Everything is working for the greater good. Humankind is actually evolving to higher and higher levels. The standard of living in this world is higher than it ever has been in our history. We are upheld by the all-powerful hands of God in every situation, still, right now in the midst of everything, in whatever form those hands take. And there are many forms. Not one of the negative facts I cited to you are truth. Truth with a capital T. They are not. That is unchanging truth. These are facts in the world, yes, but facts are changeable. And you and I are here to change these facts right here, right now. It is our moment in time. We can create the greatest spiritual revolution that has ever been known on this earth. We have the power. You know, I think about a discussion we had in our Wednesday night group the other night. We were talking about whether we should watch the news or not. And I was reminded of the words of Raymond Charles Barker, who was a very famous minister in a large church in Manhattan. And every morning he would read the paper, turn the page, and when he got to the last page, he'd slam his hand down and say, "There's not a damn word of truth in the whole thing." He reminded himself every day, I know something bigger and greater. Now, you and I really know that consciousness creates, that all thought is creative. Science of mind teaches us that strong emotion and focused attention is powerful. Thoughts and feelings are prayer, even if unintended. All thought creates. This is true. All thought and emotion go into the field of intelligence, and that field of intelligence responds by creating the circumstances in our life and the events. It goes into that field of intelligence. It's called by many names. It can be called God. It can be called the Atman. It can be called Spirit, whatever. It responds according to our beliefs. So you think about this. As ye think, so ye are. Because you know God speaks medieval English. Ask and it is given. And as we thinketh, again, medieval God talk, so with it is. It's not just words spoken as prayer that end up acting as prayer. That's worth repeating. It's not just our words and thought that we utter in a conscious prayer that end up acting as prayer. So where in the world is this great spiritual revolution going to come from? How are we going to do it? As the granddaughter of an itinerant Southern Baptist minister, I look to the Bible. Psalm chapter 19, verse 14, refers to the Jewish captivity and enslavement. And it can apply to many, many situations that we have in the world today. Here the Jews are lamenting their captivity and enslavement and asking, how can we serve God with what we are going through when these awful things are happening? And there's a song called River of Babylon. And these words echo and talk about their lament. By the rivers of Babylon where we sat down, and there we wept when we remembered Zion. Oh, the wicked carry us away in captivity, required for us a song. How can we sing King Alpha's song in a strange land? So let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. Now, the words in the psalm verse are very similar, but there's something that was left out, the part about the meditations and the words. And here is what it actually says. Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. And adds, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. That's very different. My strength and my Redeemer. I am not a victim. New Thought teaches us that the word Lord means the law, as in spiritual law. And what we energetically broadcast goes out into that field of intelligence. And again, this is our strength and our Redeemer. Indeed. This is not asking some big daddy in the sky, 50 feet tall with a beard and sandy long hair, oh, please, please say everything we do is acceptable to you. No, indeed. Rather, the Jews are being told, stand up, speak, feel, and thinketh in thy heart what you want to manifest. So create what you want. Know the power that God has given to you. And it's another way of saying, all thought is creative. It is. So focus on what you want to create and what you want to put into that field of intelligence. In other words, create your freedom, create your home, create your self-determination. I think those are important things to remember with everything that's going on in the world. So when you do this, please do it from inspired action. We have seen the results of impulsive, reactionary decisions. Let's help each other to make decisions that are life-affirming, that are expansive, that lift us up. There is not one reason we have to exploit this earth, its creatures, its life in any form, or our brothers and sisters to all live in peace and in plenty. Not one. Inspired by Spirit, individually and collectively, we can create a vibration of harmony, respect for all life, and abundance for all in all areas of life. Enough for all. The intention to do so will spark our imagination and will be inspired in ways previously unknown to add to the consciousness of the world. You don't have to worry about what is yours to do. You'll understand. It will be plain to you. Artists will be there with their art, just as today. Singers, doctors, teachers, parents, custodians, we all have a part to play. I am here to tell you, we all have a part to play, and we are up to it, are we not? I want to hear, are we up to it? Yes, we are, and yes, we can. And some people say to me, oh, Susan, it just feels so overwhelming what's going on in the world. How can I lift myself up in the middle of everything that's going on? It just feels so heavy, and I feel so heavy. Well, at times so do I. I really do. But I believe it is incumbent upon us to lift ourselves up every day. Sometimes we have to do it hourly or even moment by moment, but that's what we can do. When the fertilizer hits the ventilator, I have been on the 60-minute plan at sometimes, and sometimes on the 15-second interval. Keep your thought high. Keep on. And what I do is to remember every time I realize I'm thinking something in opposition. There's no way I'm going to think of this. Yes, there is. God always. I counter everything with a positive thought, words, or images. And I got to tell you that actually it may not happen instantaneously, but the depression and the sadness, they lift. If you're feeling that, let me remind you, Spirit is always there, waiting and ready and just quivering to do your bidding and my bidding. So think of things that we want to put into that mind and that we want to experience. Humor works really real to do this. You may be thinking, where is it in this talk? In wondering how to approach today's topic, I was thinking about it, and the words of a friend of mine, Reverend Linda Finley in Oregon, came to me, and with her permission, I read them and share them with you right now. She wrote, "Last week I talked about the spectrum of emotions and the need for balance, even during times of challenge. I also brought up the idea that a curious brain is more creative and comes up with more solutions than a fearful one. I plan to continue developing those ideas, and we are here to view humor as a pressure-releasing valve." And she talked about the movie set in the Holocaust called Life is Beautiful. And a Jewish man is in a concentration camp, and he has hidden his son with him. And he said to his son, "This is a big game. You can win, but you have to be quiet and you have to do exactly as I tell you." And he convinces everybody else around him to help his boy believe that. And in the film, the boy plays along. He wants to win his prized truck, that thing that he always wanted, a toy tank. And, he avoids capture, and he avoids really realizing all the horrors around him in full faith that he will win the game and he will win that tank. And in the final moments of the film, we see American tanks rolling into the town square. And the little boy's eyes grow huge, his jaw drops. He has won a tank. He just won the World Series of tanks. And he is so thrilled. And it is his faith and it is his belief that helped create that. Boy, did it create, didn't it? And it was his father's deepest desire to protect him that led to his safety. And it did so at the cost of the father's life for his son. Their deep faith, their aligned meditations of their hearts and words of their mouth created that, because Spirit is always saying yes. It's not a case of, "God, what do you want me to do?" And God looking down and go, "What do you want to do?" No, it's the right response. It is. So in life, in good times or in bad, we all need to lift our vision. Have you felt that way? Do you ever find yourself, no, it's just me, okay. Humor helps. Norman Cousins was an editor, longtime editor, at the Saturday Review. And he experienced a very life-threatening disease that attacked his connective tissues. And he was in the hospital in great pain with high fever and near paralysis. Now, the ministerial version that I was taught, excuse me one second, was that he went to a hotel took off his clothes, gave them to his wife who left, locked the door, and watched Marx Brothers movies. Now, that's quite a vivid image. So I went and checked this out with Dr. Google, and it says that the Washington Post actually wrote, Cousins persuaded the nurses to read him excerpts from humor columns, show him candid camera reruns, and watched the old Marx Brothers movies. And this is what he said. I made the joyous discovery that 10 minutes of genuine belly laughter gave me 2 pain-free hours of sleep, which had been in scarcity. Absolutely. He said, they had an anesthetic effect, and I got to sleep. But whatever the process, he did recover, and he went on to write a 6-page journal, not a doctor, for the prestigious New England Journal of Medicine. Not only that, he wrote 2 more books. He became a faculty member of the UCLA School of Medicine in research in biochemistry, and let me get this straight, the biochemistry of emotions, and was named professor of medical humanities. That's not bad for a guy who's a layman, is it? You know, and had no medical training, and they really didn't have mind-body connections going on too much at that time. God delivered. He had faith, and look what happened. Do you think we can create a spiritual revolution? I do. You know, humor helps us change our emotional state. When was the last time you really belly laughed? You laughed till you almost cried? When? Think of it. Somebody shout out. Hey, good. I didn't hear from enough of y'all, though. You keep working on it. You know, do you have that special friend who in the middle of something just awful, in your opinion, says something that cracks everybody up and changes the mood? Do you ever have that? I can think of one, but they're a little inappropriate to say here. You know, they change a seemingly unchangeable situation. And perhaps you have been that for someone else. Recently, I dealt with a situation that involved being given time-consuming, inaccurate, and concerning information. It also involved unreturned phone calls and withholding of important information. I simply prayed about it because, you know, prayer always works, often in unexpected ways, and I worked my best on staying faith-filled. So I prayed, and it just shifted. It just shifted so easily. No. My level of frustration increased to the point of obsession, and I'm sure I lost a minimum of 15 personality points. But not by coincidence, a friend referred me to another office. And I normally would have never done this, but I began to investigate them and realized this company had exquisite referrals. It had exquisite references. So I went there, and I easily got an appointment, resulting in more accurate information, better options, along with definite timelines. So the last laugh is on the first company because they don't get to execute my expensive plans. You know, it was very interesting. Their inefficiency, their lack of communication and concern. The part that frustrated me so much, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have even considered other options. But it did, and I did. You know, I didn't appreciate that long and winding road that took me here, but I do now. My evil twin Skippy exited my body, and I got my 15 points back. Now, you know, humor helps us, and sometimes we have resentment. I have had that. You know, prayer and humor, especially humor, can help release that. I speak from experience. There was a child whose dream it was to own a horse and never got one. And that child, AKA moi, learned as an adult that my parents went to my sister, who is older, and asked her if she wanted a horse or piano. And damn, don't you know she took that piano? She did. They never even mentioned it to me. And I found out, and I was angry to not even be considered. Well, she chose the piano, and I have to say she did go on to major in piano in college, and even now owns a baby grand. So I still found that this was a burr under my imaginary saddle, and I needed to do something about it. So I took those feelings and I rescued a horse from the Premarin trials, if you know what they are, in which the mares are bred repeatedly and tested upon. I got her delivered to my best bud's acreage in Louisiana, where I'm from, and I watched her grow from an unattractive mare into a beautiful horse. It was amazing. And we all dream of having things without the reality of them, especially as children. And I now had a horse I didn't have to feed, clean up after, or give medicine to. It was probably better than what I had as a child when I wouldn't have wanted to do those things. So I could have been a Western movie star. It was my dream to ride with Roy Rogers on the range. I could have had my very own Trigger, but they inspired me. So how did I shift things? With the help of the very talented Mr. Michael Godey, what you now see on the screen was created. Scandalous, isn't it? That's a little shirtless hussy out in public for all to see. That's me, my head, on the body of 4-year-old Bill Clinton, who had his picture taken. It is my Mr. DeMille moment. It is my offering to all those girls who always wanted a horse, actually to anyone who ever wanted a horse and didn't get one. And it inspired me to write today's talk. Don't you just love that? I do. Humor has a lot to offer us. It is one of Spirit's greatest gifts. It really is. I look back at situations in my life that were not very pleasing and that I didn't seem to be able to control, but now I can see a bigger picture from the time distance there, and sometimes I even laugh. Not a lot about those things, but sometimes I do. But I help create every one of those situations. So I want to tell you, find something to smile about. Find something to laugh about. Watch a funny movie. Or do what I do. Find a great humor page on Facebook. Here are 3 of my favorites that brought a smile to my face. Number 1, study finds that 100% of men will eat any fruit given to them by a naked woman. Number 2, interview. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Me? I'd rather not. I really want this job. And the 3rd, a real favorite of mine, naked running. Apparently this means running without GPS, music, or any other tech. I wish I'd known that an hour ago. I just love that. Why is humor healing and why is it necessary? Really, it is imperative to lift ourselves up, to have a bigger, better viewpoint. We can't do that from that down, depressed place. And many people today, many people in this world feel like we are fighting for the soul of our country and of our world. We can take a lesson from leaders in battle. Leaders in battle always remain distant from the battle at a vantage point of good sight, because that perspective helps them to get the bigger picture and execute better orders. It's a bigger and better perspective. It's a slippery slope to be too close to a situation, to get too emotionally involved. You know, we cannot heal from the same consciousness that created the chaos. I'm going to repeat that. We cannot heal a situation for ourselves or others when we are at the level of consciousness that created the chaos. You know, it's like my friend Jessica always said, get out of the gutter, there's not enough room for all of us here. And she said it all the time. But you know, even the heroic, those super people who seem to be able to do everything, they need to recharge. In order to help others, it's important to replenish our own energy, no matter who you are. So please refer to the above. You did not laugh enough. I think that's just wonderful. Researchers have found that social laughter, it releases endorphins, which are feel-good chemicals in our body. Look at Norman Cousins, 10 minutes, 2 hours of pain-free time. They help release pain and trigger pleasure that helps us to see things better and get a better idea, make a better decision. Suppressed emotions take a toll on the body, they do. But even then, there is a time that we need to bypass emotion and take action. But when that time is past, let us remember that laughter lifts us up, and incidentally, so does crying. Crying, tears of grief, emotional crying we might call it, release many more times the level of hormones in them than other types of tears do. They're a healthy release, absolutely. So let us cry when we need to, and let us laugh as often as we possibly can. That pharmacy in our brain is God's given gift to us, built in to deliver on time and in the exact right doses. It's a miracle of how it works. Nothing approaches it in our society today. Remember that. We have the way. We can create a spiritual revolution. We can create a better frame of mind for ourselves, and we'll affect everyone around us. So the next time you're in the middle of that prayer need, that, dear God, let the floor open up underneath me right now, you know, we can remember something that helps lift me up. Red Riding Hood couldn't figure out that a talking wolf in drag wasn't her grandmother. That makes me feel better. Then you and I might be able to remember some gratitude for all we have, and we might once more feel that and share that peace that passes understanding. Indeed, we can have a new idea, and sometimes they seem so strange, and so where in the world did that come from? But yet they're very effective. I'm reminded of a little boy who asked, why doesn't the tooth fairy just get dead people and take their teeth? You think about that, that's a lot of levels in there. Why doesn't the tooth fairy just find dead people and take their teeth? You know, peace is possible. We are blessed. I thank God for centers like SLCA, the ministers, the teachers, the practitioners, the people who come to learn and practice what we have to offer. I bless the people who put this on today. It took a lot of time to put this together. Let's thank them. Using what we know, we can create a world that really does work for everyone, because it doesn't seem like it is working for everyone right now. Doesn't feel like it, even though it is a greater truth. You know, through our consciously aligned words of our mouth and the meditations of our heart, we can and are changing the world one thought at a time, one emotion and one action at a time. And that's important to remember. When you feel overwhelmed, think a greater thought. We are changing the world for the better. And we certainly don't want to have to keep this a secret uttered late at night, do we? So from my heart to yours, aloha, ashe, amen. Blessed be, and so it is. Thank you.
And let's give Susan another hand. That was outstanding. Thank you. Thank you for that message. And we can change the world one laugh at a time. One laugh at a time. And so I am going to remind us of what the affirmation was for today. It's coming on the screen. And let's say this together. Like a child at play, I sip from the universal cup of joy and sweeten it with my unlimited gratitude. And so it is. I wrote that, by the way. I don't know if I said that. Okay. And now it's time to acknowledge our first-time visitors. So if this is your first time here at SLCA, we invite you to stand so we may welcome you. Any first-time visitors? Wonderful. There's an usher who will be handing you a welcome message, and this is from the welcome ambassadors who will be in the lobby to greet you again following service. We thank each of you for choosing the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta to be part of your celebration today. We welcome each of you who may be in need of prayer, and we want to remind you to remain in the room, come to the front, and there will be activity around the sides, so we may, if you need prayer, go into another space, but just come to the front and see one of the practitioners, and we will be happy to pray with you today. We now enter the time of our grateful giving, and we want to first of all thank each of you who faithfully give each month, each week at SLCA, because it is your contributions that help us to continue to spread messages like the one we heard today. If you were inspired by today's message, please consider becoming a recurrent pledger or give whatever is in your heart to give today. You can conveniently give. The information is on our website, or you can text your gift to the number showing 404-800-9467. You may also give using your credit card and using the digital QR code that is in front of the seat. And you can display that on your phone. If you wish to give cash or a check, the ushers will be moving through the room to receive your contribution. Please join me as we say together our affirmation for prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Thank you.
so much, and thank you, Reverend Susan, for that spectacular message. Yes, and Baji Daniels, and to our media team, doing an amazing job keeping us together all week. I want to invite you, please remain behind and join together celebrating with our creative arts community. We have authors, we have teachers, we have storytellers, we have artists. We welcome you to have some community time with each person that is here exhibiting their works, and we invite you to stand as we sing our closing song. Yes, it feels so good, and you have a great weekend.